Atomic Habits is missing one critical piece. Welcome to Huddle for Success. I'm Duane Gibbs alongside my partner Mark Bruce, the Hall of Famer, and we come to you each and every Monday with a new episode. With that being said, let's huddle up. Good morning.
Good morning, Duane. What a provocative topic we have today.
Okay, sounds good. This is your favorite book. You recommend it to everybody all the time, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And the program we teach our students, Thinking into Results by Bob Proctor, is something that is really profound. And people sometimes they have questions about both. So I thought today, why don't we show them why we combine both ideas and can completely change the way they think about success? They meaning you, the listener.
Sounds
So,
like a great idea.
with that being said, let me go into question number one. So, question is, why do you think Atomic Habits has resonated with so many people?
I think one of the main reasons is James Clear has made habit formation very simple. He's laid out a very practical, easy to understand format where there's just four steps that make creating a habit much easier. He shifts the focus from chasing goals. This is something you and I talked about is when you Bob in Thinking into Results says you've got to have this huge, massive goal. And a lot of times when the goal is so far out there, people need little mini wins. And you've helped me see that you need mini wins. And James Clear, he named it Atomic Habits because the atom is the smallest thing that exists in the world. And by making small little changes, you can reach those really big goals.
Yes, I believe that.
That's one of the reasons I like it because he made it really easy. Clear says in the book, he says every action you take is a vote for the person that you want to become. And that sounds a lot like what Thinking into Results talks about, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them they talk about lasting change that starts with your identity. We talk about identity all the time. Habits that are evidence of who you believe you are becoming. And the future, I believe, is a version of yourself that should drive you in today's actions. It really, yeah, I think that people sometimes just look at the direction that they're going and they believe they can. They just need to focus on what that looks like and being able to continue that drive and taking action every single day. So, again, like you said earlier, the small wins, the small habits create larger success.
Yep. They've got to see themselves as being that successful person at the end of the goal.
No
Absolutely.
question.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. Why does thinking into results take that conversation a step further, do you think?
I think we nailed it when we named our second A in our 5A format or our 5A foundation of how you create a goal, how you win it, creating success. And that's Bob in Thinking of Results explains why your habits are what they are. He explains why your habits so that you become aware of how your habits were created so that you can understand how to recreate better habits. Bob teaches, he calls it a paradigm, which is really just your habits and your beliefs that create your habitual behavior.
Yes,
And until you change in your subconscious mind those habits and beliefs, those old habits keep pulling you right back to where you were.
no question.
And he used another word besides paradigm that I had never heard of before, and he calls it praxis. And the definition of praxis is the combination of belief with behavior. And the subject of our podcast today is atomic habits. Atomic habits is missing one critical piece, and it didn't talk about praxis very much at all. It hinted at it in that you have to change your identity, but The reality is, until your beliefs and your behavior combine to that new habit, it's not going to become a habit. You've got to have belief and behavior all at the same time.
Yes.
So, Duane, where do you think the biggest overlap between atomic habits and our 5A framework is?
I would say assessment and awareness help identify the habits and patterns currently running in your life right now. Atomic habits start with observing behaviors, which align perfectly with our first A, and that is assessment. You can't change what you don't first recognize. Because if you don't recognize and look at and take a full assessment, I just did a 5 day training with a new client, and their first day of assessing everything really, I think, was so impactful because they were able to talk it out and talk it through. And they realized, hey, this is the problem. As we went further down through the training, they realized that really wasn't the problem. They assessed something that really wasn't there. And until they created an awareness, which as we go through, and then they were really becoming aware of what the true problem was. And so you have to start with assessment. I truly believe that.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So Bob often says if you want a different result, you have to become a different person. How is that similar to atomic habits?
Both of those things, they focus on identity. You have to have a new identity before the achievement comes. One calls it identity in Atomic Habits, and Bob calls it a paradigm.
Yes.
You've got to change your paradigm or you've got to change your identity. They're saying the same thing, they're describing the same thing. You've got to change from the inside before your outside will reflect that change. And sustainable success is only built through that internal transformation, doing the work of creating the new habits and creating that new person that you want to be, not external pressures.
I love it.
Yeah. So, all right, Duane, how does alignment fit into both approaches? That's our third A. How do they,
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would say habits become easier when they support who's who you're trying to become.
yeah,
Who you're trying to become. And goals should align with your values and your future identity.
yep,
That's really is that moving process. And alignment reduces internal resistance because your action and your vision are working together. Now it becomes more of a harmony. Now it becomes you're not fighting one or the other, and now it just becomes true alignment. And I think that once one can realize that initially, then they, as our client last did out that I was just mentioning, everything started to align. You can see their attitude, you can see their mood, you can see a different aha moment that they have because now it's starting to align. Things are changing. You can't, and you, once you get true alignment, you can't stop. Your brain just continues to go, and you want to build on, and that momentum goes. And so, again, that vision, they just start working together.
yep, absolutely.
So, question for you. Atomic Habits talks about making good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and significant. How does thinking into results support that process?
Thinking into results works on changing your subconscious programming behind those habits. As your paradigm shifts, the good habits become more natural instead of forced. In thinking into results, you make it obvious. You write down the habit that you want. You make it very obvious. You write it down and you read it over and over again. And attractive, it's got to be something that you want, and it's got to be easy. It can't be, you don't want to pick a really hard habit. And one of the things that I find people do a lot of times is they pick more than one habit, and it's
Mm,
so hard to do more than one habit at a time. You can do a hard habit if it's the only thing that you're working on.
Yes.
Eventually the discipline of doing it will is replaced by the desire that you really want to keep doing it. I think I told you that I wrote did one of Bob's challenges. I wrote the last chapter of As a Man Thinketh for 90 days in a row. I wrote the whole chapter out. And it was a page and a half. It took me 40 minutes the first time I did it. And I did not want to do it. I wanted to do something that was going to teach. I wanted to concentrate on action. I didn't need to concentrate on peace of mind because it was all about peace of mind. And I was like, I don't need peace of mind. I got peace of mind. I need action. And then I realized that on day three, it's, oh, I'm doing the action. I'm learning to do the action again. So it became the discipline of doing it, even after just 3 days, was like, oh, so this is going to teach me action. Anyway,
I love it.
so both systems talk a lot about repetition. I just mentioned that 90 days of writing the same thing and out. Why is repetition so important, do you think?
I can tell you what I always say about repetition. If you're trying to create a different result, repetition until it becomes reflexive,
Yep.
it really creates a clearer path and being able to reinforce your new beliefs. And I just think doing something over and over again to where that positivity creates different results and long lasting change. Very important. Small daily action, I think that replaces old subconscious patterns where I'm such a believer in small wins. I took a program long time ago, 25, 30 years. It was a program I went through and it was called 90-Day Challenge. And it broke it down to the hour. Well, you did an hour, 3 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, 72 hours. So it broke it down. It was ridiculous, but I'm going to tell you, I think that's taken it a little far. And then it took it weekly, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. And so it was for 90 days. And it took it down to the point where it was so ridiculous that you really didn't feel like you were getting anywhere. But when I look at, and that was for someone that never had goals. So I can see why it was developed that way because if you've never made goals for yourself, that made you do it. Obviously, breaking it down to the hour. And I was very young, so I think that having those little wins initially really helped the bigger picture. But you got to be able to have small daily actions steps that help you move forward. And consistency beats intensity every time.
Yes, it does. Every good sports team I ever played on, we were consistently repeating practicing the plays.
Yes. That's why the people watch film.
Yeah.
Why do you think people misunderstand both atomic habits and thinking into results?
I people think success comes from one big breakthrough a lot of times, and it can, but more often than not, it comes from 1,000 small little decisions. It's you change one small little thing, and that allows you to change the next small little thing. And that's what really helps you create big breakthroughs. It's not just all at once, it's a process, it's a repetition process. They understand that there is importance, and it's a huge importance that you've got to have the desire and the belief that you can achieve the goal. You've got to have the desire for it and the belief. And they both talk about that. And if you don't believe and you don't have true desire, you're going to quit before the new identity ever has a chance to take root.
Yes.
All
Love it.
right. So if somebody wanted to combine atomic habits and thinking into results and our 5 A's format, which is what we do, what would that process look like, do you think?
I would say it first starts with assessment and awareness to understand your current habits and paradigm. Your favorite word,
Yeah.
paradigm. And then create alignment by deciding who you want to become. And then I would say, then take consistent action with small daily habits to reinforce them through accountability. And accountability, I just love. I think that puts the nail in the coffin. Then where lasting transformation happens, not through willpower, but through changing both your mind and your daily beliefs.
Yep.
I think that's it. What's your
Absolutely.
final thought of the day?
That's why we came up with the 5A framework, because it combines both of those great ideas, the thinking into results, and it makes it a simple 5 areas that you can concentrate on, even though thinking into results is 12 steps, and James Clear has multiple steps into creating habits. Assessment, awareness, alignment, action, and accountability. That is the process to creating a successful goal.
I love it. I love it. Hey, listen, we appreciate you, the listener, tuning in each and every Monday for a new episode. And also join us every Wednesday and Friday as we do our huddle ups. That's a quick mindful thought, 3 to 5 minutes. Share, leave a comment. If you know that this could be beneficial to someone, please share it. We'd love to hear your comments, love to hear their comments. And with that being said, stay huddled up, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Huddle for Success. If you found it helpful and want to support others on their journey, share this podcast, leave us a rating, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you next week on Huddle for Success. Stay huddled up.